some of that weed.
Boom Bap Hour Uncut.
It's your girl, Miss Ruby V, and this is the Boom Bap Hour Uncut. We have a very special guest here on the Ruby V exclusive, Cuban Pete. Well, how you doing? We're so excited to have you here.
Hey, how you doing? Yeah, it's cool. And it's all the way from the UK.
Yes. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us from across the globe, you know. So we're definitely going to be talking about your exciting new work and your project. And it's been said about you that Cuban Pete is proof of why the golden era that raised him is termed just that. Everything you flow on turns to gold. So I can dig that.
Yeah, I definitely grew up in the right time. I grew up with all the golden era stuff. I must have got into hip hop since about 84, 85, something like that. And then sort of got into it properly when Eric B and Rakim and then people like Dondi Soul and NWA came out, and so I sort of took it from there, really.
Right. And it also looks like you collaborated with such industry veterans as Eric Sermon, Crumb Snatcher, Black Poet, Tragedy Gaddafi, and other UK acts such as Ramson, Bad Bones, Aurice King David, Trademark Blood, and more. So what was it like growing up in England, and pretty much like how the climate was, like when you say you were introduced to hip hop? How was it like, growing up there and kind of being introduced to doing it?
Well, I mean, I grew up in a very small town, very small white town in the UK, to be honest, and I had to travel to the nearest. I'm from near Birmingham, which is called the second city, because after London it's classed as the second city of the UK. It's further up the country, the Midlands, and there's a lot more of a ethnic mix, racial mix in there. And my dad's from Wolverhampton as well, which there again is a similar sort of place. So I had to travel to get out. I mean, there wasn't a lot of hip hop in the record shops or anything like that. It's a very rock town, I suppose you'd call it. It was mainly through hearing music in the charts, I suppose. I used to tune into America's Top 10 with Casey Kasem, because there'd normally be a few hip-hop songs in the charts, a lot more than we'd have in the UK normally. I used to get my fix from there. I used to have to record it because it was on late at night. And then obviously there was the radio. It took a while for mainstream radio to catch up, and the shows were always on late night or obscure places and times, so I had to search.
But, hey, even though it was, hard to really find, you still found a way to gravitate toward hip-hop. So, that's awesome. Must mean you was meant to do it, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yes. And also in your bio, it says that you represent the era when MCs weren't afraid to speak on issues, and originality was rife and style was essential. So why do you feel that originality is essential to really keep it alive?
Well, I'm not one of these old heads that says hip hop's dead and all the new guys are trash and all the rest of it. There's still dope artists coming out now who are doing their thing lyrically and beat wise and everything. But there's a lot of people following. There's always been people following trends, but with the saturation of artists you've got now, it's more noticeable when people follow trends, I think. And you have to be original and bring your own style and twist to stuff. to get noticed, basically, and get yourself out there. It's a lot easier these days for artists to get their music done and out with all the digital age and all that. You know, to be fair, I can record at home, and you know, I've got DistroKid and all that, so I can get music online and on Spotify and iTunes and all the rest of it. So yeah, it is easy. And if it wasn't for the internet, I wouldn't have done a lot of the international collaborations I've done, because I couldn't afford to travel to do them, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's definitely a different era. But yeah, there's always people ready to copy and, you know, jump on the new trends and stuff. And yeah, it's not the way it's about for me.
Right. Definitely. Now, where do you usually feel like you find your artistic inspiration? Like when you feel like you're getting ready to start something, like, are there any, you know, source that you go to that seem like they inspire you a lot?
I mean, there's a lot of MCs I listen to, but, I mean, I've started concentrating my work more, instead of just dropping a hot verse here or there, you know. I mean, with this new EP, 5 Points, I've given it a theme, you know. I mean, obviously the name is named after the place that was destroyed, the graffiti mecca in New York, 5 Points, and I've given the whole EP a graffiti theme, so all the tracks are named after graffiti artists or people to do with the scene, and I've tried to style the tracks after elements that they've brought to the game. So, you know, I've tried to incorporate the elements in there. I mean, obviously I'm emceeing, hopefully I'm dropping knowledge. I've got DJ E-Rex doing scratches and cuts on there as well, and falling down, producing the whole thing, doing the beats for the DJ side. So yeah, I've tried to incorporate as many elements as I can in there, really. I've got an animated video dropping on midnight, well, first thing Tuesday morning on YouTube. If you search for C75 Live on YouTube, that's my official channel. It'll bring you straight up, because C75 Live is the music imprint that I do. So yeah, I've got a video dropping on there, totally animated, by my guy Swifty Services from the West Midlands.
Always wanted to be the next podcast star? So what's the holdup? If you're looking for the easiest way to make your podcast, then listen up. Anchor gives you everything you need to make your podcast in one place for free, which you can use right from your phone or computer. Creation tools allow you to record and edit your podcast so it sounds great. And that's not all. They'll distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard everywhere: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more. And you can easily make more money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. Ready for your voice to be heard across the globe? So what are you waiting for? Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm, ANCHOR.FM to get started today.
My old stomping grounds. So yeah, that's a new one for me. I'm trying to focus a lot more this year and get my stuff out there more, you know what I mean?
Right. Well, that is such a dope concept of, you know, the 5 points. I'm an artist, so I'm like, wow, I love what you did with that and where you're going with that. That is so dope to me. Love that. So pretty much, I do ask this question to pretty much everyone that I do interview. What does hip-hop mean to you, and why do you feel it chose you? Or you chose it, either one.
It's just something I gravitated towards. I mean, I got into hip-hop because of, the music. I mean, it's difficult. Back when I got into it, there was a lot more soul in the music, which is, I feel, is sometimes missing now with a lot of the beats that are all hi-hat driven and all the rest of it. But, you know, I grew up in the James Brown sample era and stuff like that. So I sort of grew towards the funk and the wordplay of the lyrics and everything. I mean, back when you had cassettes and you had to rewind stuff. So yeah, it was that's what sort of drew me to it. And also, I mean, artist-wise, I've always been interested in comics, and obviously the bright colours and bold lines of graffiti sort of crossed over with that, and the cartoon characters used in graffiti as well. So yeah, it all just sort of fitted with me nicely, really.
Right. Okay. Now, what do you feel like is next for you this year, as far as in 2020? What's coming up on the horizon this year for you?
Well, I mean, it's been a busy January. I'm on my C75 Live is my music imprint. I've got the website c75live.com where you can find all my stuff. And B Divine's down the team. And it was actually his track that I was on with Eric Sermon on, and I did the hook on that one, which was the first time I'd done a hook for somebody else. So that was a nice track to debut my hook skills on. So yeah, that came out. Obviously I dropped 5 points as well. I've been doing all these interviews and press stuff. So yeah, it's been a busy year so far, really. I've got more EPs coming. I've got an EP coming with Neri the producer. That's the next one coming up, called Rocket Science. Got stuff coming out with DJ Hellraiser, a UK DJ. He's doing an EP with me as well, project. One Mike, I'm doing a project with him. I'm trying to drop a few little projects at a time throughout the year, really. So yeah, and still doing my artwork as well. I sort of got into hip-hop, well, I started out in the game doing designs on jackets and caps, like graffiti stuff. And then I sort of consolidated that with the music because I was dealing with rappers a lot, and the two sort of crossed over. So design-wise, I normally do a lot more digital work these days, doing CD covers and things like that. My man Crumb Snatcher's just dropped his unreleased project, which I did the cover for. I work with him quite a bit, so he's got an album coming out later in the year which I'm going to be on as well, and I'm sure I'll be doing the artwork for that and everything. So yeah, it's got a lot of things planned this year.
Well, that sounds really awesome. I would love to see your artwork too as well. So I'll be looking out for that too, for sure. Yes. So how can we find all your? So we basically told us how you can find all your music. Is there anybody that you want to give a shout out to, and as far as like following you on social media and everything as well?
Yeah, I mean, I say the main website is c75live.com. You can find, if you go on the menu there, you can find links to all my music. I'm all over Spotify and iTunes and all the rest of that as well. But there's also the C75 Bandcamp, which has got all my stuff on, as well as artists who are down with the imprint. There's an artist page on there which gives you a rundown of who's down with me as well. Like I say, on YouTube, I'm C75 Live. If you just search for that, it'll bring up my official channel. On social media, you can find me under Cuban Pete, C75 Live, also C75 Designs on Twitter and Instagram, because that's what the design part of C75 is called. Now I've consolidated everything, I'll be swapping it over to C75 Live at some point, but that's all in the works. It's a lot of work changing everything over, you know what I mean? It's been linked together. But it took me a while to get my YouTube channel sorted out, so yeah, there's a lot of things I'm sorting out this year. But yeah, that's the main place you can find me. I want to give a shout out to Sarah, my manager. She does a lot of good work for me. NJ, who's sorted out obviously this interview, and lots of other press and stuff for me, promotion-wise. Crumb Snatcher, who's, like I say, we've got stuff coming out. We dropped the Mind Power Entertainment United Nations project, Volume 5, that just dropped recently, hosted by Don Pacino from Killer Army. I want to give a shout out to One Mike, obviously me and his project, Live Test is dropping. And